Welcome back to Days of Our Lives channel. Today we will learn about the issue shaking Salem to its core, how the show's 60th anniversary this November becomes both a tribute to legacy and a launchpad for audacious new stories that will echo into the next year. A milestone built for emotion and spectacle. The head writers, Paula Quigley and Jean Marie Ford, are treating the 60th as a narrative inflection point, not just a commemorative episode. The centerpiece is a hospital gala honoring the memory and ethos of Tom Horton community, compassion, and second chance while cleverly setting off chain reactions across families and factions. Expect a night that starts as a love letter to Salem's past and erupts into a catalyst for tomorrow's rivalries, romances, and reckonings. Who's coming home and why it matters. The guest list doubles as a thesis statement for what the anniversary means. Returning favourites Mike, Jennifer, Jack, Lucas, Sammy, Will, Marie, Steve, Eli, Lonnie, Eric, Paul, and Andrew Warrior with unfinished business and conflicting agendas. Each return is designed to touch a different corner of the canvas. Autumn roots and reckonings, Brady family fault lines, and the Mera corporate warfare. The writers aren't stacking cameos, they're threading pressure points. Watch for reunions that heal old wounds in Act 1 and reopen them by Act 4. The gala's narrative engine. By centering the tribute to Tom Horton at University Hospital, the show places Salem's beating heart place of miracles and missteps front and center. Toasts and tributes will be intercut with strategic reveals, power plays behind contained partitions, and one destabilizing interruption no one sees coming. Security protocols fail, a wing goes dark, and the private lab door that should never be opened is suddenly ajar. The gala isn't a backdrop, it's a loaded stage. EJ's private lab, science, secrecy, and the cost of control. Newly empowered as the hospital's own, EJ DeMera uses institutional clout to pursue secretive experiments in a personal lab, framed as innovation, but operated like a vault. He claims he's accelerating life-saving research, but the methods, funding streams, and subjects raise alarms. Lab logs don't reconcile with procurement records. A trial codename appears in multiple departments with different definitions. When the power flickers during the gala, redundant backups fail in that wing Alan is suggesting either sabotage or a test EJ didn't authorize. The fallout will fall EJ into a moral grey zone. A victory looks like loss with better optics. Rachel's truth, Kristen's calculus. The bullet that wounded EJ left a deeper wound in Salem's psyche. Rachel's role in the shooting, and Kristen's quick-footed cover, will finally force daylight into a story built on denial. Therapy breakthroughs threaten to become public testimony. Kristen's survival strategy is part maternal falsity, part corporate triage. Protect Rachel at all costs, then weaponize the narrative to weaken EJ and neutralize rivals. But once Rachel internalizes that forgiveness is not an eraser, her next spiral is less about guilt and more about a genuine adolescent rush toward danger to prove she's more than the worst thing that happened in that living room. Salem's adults will scramble to catch up. Marlena's two-front battle. As Marlena counsels Rachel toward accountability, she confronts an unexpected health crisis that reframes her role from omnipresent anchor to endangered witness. The crisis is not a one-episode scare. It tests her faith in process, pressures her marriage, and forces her to choose between patient confidentiality and the greater good. When the lights go out at the gala, one of Marlena's critical test results is trapped in a system that can't be trusted, raising the question of whether the darkness is random, targeted, or a message to the town's moral center. Chad, Kat, and the DeMera Cold War. Chad cannot outrun his accelerating pull toward Kat, whose poised interest in EJ hides tangled ties to the ESA. Kat is playing a long game. Proximity to EJ grant access to ledgers, meeting rooms, and the very corridor where the private lab's waste containers are staged. But falling for Chad is an operational hazard she didn't plan for. The triangle is less about jealousy and about leverage who controls information, who controls narrative, and who controls the future of the Mera enterprises when public trust collapses. Brother versus. Brother isn't about board seats anymore. It's about who carries the DeMera name without burning it down. Tony's grand design. Tony methodically assembles a legal and financial scaffolding to reclaim DeMera interprocessually acquiring minority stakes through shell entities, rewriting bylaws in committee, and courting old-world investors nostalgic for Stefano's and elegance. The move looks bloodless until it isn't. A whistleblower vanishes, a merger term sheet leaks, and a courier is tailed from the hospital parking deck to the docks. Tony calculates risk like a chess master, but one night moves out of turn and the family pays the price. Brady's ticking clock, so feared. Tate and the truth with teeth. Brady inches closer to exposing the real story of Sophia and the child tied to Tate's future. It's a case built on micro-detail Chandrian discrepancies, a sealed juvenile file that shouldn't exist, a sonogram timestamp that predates a reported clinic visit. The nearer Brady gets, the more Sophia frays, oscillating between confession and counterattack. The emotional center is Tate, who senses he is a variable in an equation adults keep rewriting. When the evidence surfaces on the very night Salem goes dark, Brady must decide whether to torch a lie that has held a fragile piece together. The night Salem goes dark, a citywide blackout rigger by cascading failures or deliberate strike synchronizes separate storylines into one breathless hour. The gala hosts mid-toast, backup generators hiccup on the research floor, locked doors decide which secrets survive. Streetlights die as a familiar figure returns to town under cover of a moonless sky. In the silence, alliances realign, enemies become necessary partners, and old friends discover they have conflicting rescue priorities. When the power returns, the damage isn't just physical, it's reputational, relational, institutional. NEXT, Thursday, August 28th, we're given a glimpse of a potentially explosive storyline that could reshape dynamics among some of the show's most recognizable faces. Belle, Philip, and Gabby. Could we be standing at the edge of a new love triangle that mixes loyalty, passion, and betrayal in ways that only Salem can deliver? Belle and Philip, friends, but with open doors. The August 28th episode opened the door for speculation, and Belle and Philip shared the honest conversation about where they stand. For the moment, they agreed to remain just friends. However, as Season Days fans know, in Salem the phrase just friends almost always comes with a hidden clause, friends for now. Belle, portrayed by Martha Madison, has had a long and complicated history with Philip Kiriakis, played by John Paul Lavoisier. Their connection has always run deeper than casual friendship. The chemistry between them often lingers, even when circumstances pulled them apart. When they agreed to maintain their bond as friends, there was a knowing spark and unspoken suggestion that their story is far from over. Perhaps it's not a matter of if they cross that line again, but when. Gabby's hopes and a mystery romance. Meanwhile, Gabby Sherry Jimenez was off confiding in Javi, sharing her hopes about building a relationship with someone special and mystery person. Longtime viewers immediately began to speculate. Who could this mystery be? And could it possibly link back to Philip? Gabby has always been a character driven by strong desires, sometimes reckless, sometimes calculating. Her past schemes often blew up in her face, leaving her scrambling to recover. Yet this time, she seemed almost calm. Instead of plotting or manipulating, Gabby seemed willing to take a step back, let things unfold, and see if the man she wanted would come to her on his own. It's a surprising maturity for a woman often known for stirring trouble. Belle, the good girl with a dark side. If this potential triangle develops, what makes it particularly interesting is Belle's role. Traditionally, Belle has been cast in the good girl role if dependable, kind-hearted foil to Salem's schemers. But fans remember the flashes of steel within her, the streak of rebellion that occasionally bubbles up. And who could deny that Belle has shades of her sister Sammy? The thought of Belle digging deep and unleashing her inner Sammy is tantalizing. What if, instead of Gabby being the manipulator, Belle took a turn at playing the bad girl? It would be an unexpected reversal, shaking the audience's expectations and giving Belle a storyline full of dramatic tension. Imagine Belle stepping into a role where she fights fiercely for Philip, not with sweet reason and moral high ground, but with cunning, passion, and a willingness to bend the rules. For long-time fans, the possibility of Belle finally breaking free from her good girl box is both exciting and overdue. Gabby's new approach. On the other side, Gabby has made a surprising shift. After years of being the schemer, plotting elaborate moves that almost always unraveled, she now seems to be choosing a different strategy, patience. Instead of pulling strings, she appears ready to let the cards fall where they may. If Philip is drawn to her, then so be it. If not, she won't force it. This unusual calmness could make her even more dangerous in the long run. A Gabby who isn't clawing desperately for love, but instead sitting back with quiet confidence, could prove more alluring than ever. And if Belle does decide to fight for Philip with tricks and manipulations, Gabby could stand back, watch her opponent stumble, and come out smelling like a rose. Why this triangle matters. What makes the possibility of a Bella Philip Abby triangle so compellingly is that each character brings a distinct history and energy. Philip represents stability and nostalgia. He's tied deeply to the roots of Salem, and his past with Belle carries years of unresolved emotions. Belle represents a woman at a crossroads. She's torn between her reputation as a moral, reliable figure and her suppressed desire to fight for what she wants no matter the cost. Gabby represents ambition and resilience. She's been the underdog, the manipulator, and sometimes even the victim. If she steps into this triangle with a calmer, more confident energy, she could turn the tables completely. This isn't just about romance, it's about identity, history, and the choices each character makes about who they want to be. Do they stay in their traditional roles, or do they evolve into something new? A familiar pattern with fresh potential. Days of Our Lives has never shied away from love triangles. From the earliest days of Doug Gileadi to the more recent Edgar Maluka's entanglements, these triangles fuel the drama that keeps viewers hooked. But what makes this new potential triangle unique is the possibility of role reversal. The good girl Belle might finally cross the line, while the bad girl Gabby steps into a surprisingly virtuous light. If the writers follow through with this storyline, fans could be treated to one of the most refreshing twists in years. Instead of repeating old patterns, this triangle might rewrite them, giving each character a chance to grow in unexpected ways. The road ahead. So, are we truly seeing the beginning of a hot love triangle between Belle, Philip, and Gabby? The August 28th episode certainly set the stage. Belle and Philip's decision to remain friends leaves room for something deeper to blossom, while Gabby's quiet hope for a romance introduces an element of mystery and suspense. For now, it's all speculation, but in Salem, where friendships blur into love and alliances often crumble into betrayal, nothing stays still for long. The only question is, when the sparks start to fly, who will end up standing at Philip's side? Belle, with her hidden fire, or Gabby, with her newfound calm? One thing is certain, viewers are in for a stormy ride.